For more than 30 years, Kurt Russell and Val Kilmer shared one of Hollywood's most unforgettable on-screen partnerships in the Western classic Tombstone. Their powerful chemistry sparked years of rumors about what really happened behind the scenes during the movie's difficult production. Now, at 75, Kurt Russell has finally opened up about his co-star and longtime friend. What did he finally reveal about Val Kilmer, and what was the real story behind their legendary connection? Before people started arguing about what happened between Kurt Russell and Val Kilmer, there was simply Tombstone. Today, it's seen as one of the greatest westerns ever made. But when filming began in Arizona in the spring of 1993, nobody expected the production to turn into such a wild ride. What seemed like a normal Hollywood movie quickly ran into surprise setbacks, major creative changes, and behind-the-scenes stories that people are still talking about decades later. On screen, though, none of that drama showed. Audiences watched a powerful retelling of one of the Old West's most famous stories, following Wyatt Earp, Doc Holliday, Johnny Ringo, and Curly Bill Brocious as tensions exploded into the legendary gunfight at the OK Corral and the violent events that followed. The movie delivered action, unforgettable characters, and real emotion, making it feel bigger than a typical Western. Bringing it all to life was a stacked cast led by Kurt Russell and Val Kilmer, joined by Sam Elliott, Bill Paxton, Powers Booth, Michael Biehn, Dana Delaney, Charlton Heston, and narrator Robert Mitchum. Every actor brought something unforgettable to the screen, but most viewers had no idea the production was dealing with its own problems behind the scenes. Trouble started almost as soon as filming began. Screenwriter Kevin Jarre was given the chance to direct the movie himself, marking his first time behind the camera. The job quickly became overwhelming. Filming fell behind schedule, key scenes weren't getting finished, valuable shooting days were lost, and studio executives grew more concerned with each passing week. Just weeks into production, Jarre was removed from the project. Veteran director George P. Cosmatos stepped in to take over. But joining a major movie halfway through filming was never going to be easy. Some cast and crew welcomed the change, while others questioned where the film was heading. Even years later, people involved shared completely different stories about what really happened behind closed doors. The script also changed in a big way. Entire storylines were cut, scenes were rewritten, and the movie became tighter and more focused than the original plan. Audiences never saw that struggle, they only saw the finished film when it hit theaters. Even with all the behind-the-scenes drama, the team stayed committed to making Tombstone feel as real as possible. Costumes, props, and sets were carefully crafted to capture the Old West. Val Kilmer put in hours mastering Doc Holliday's lightning-fast draw and distinctive Southern accent, while even the smallest historical details, including the cast's facial hair, were given close attention. When Tombstone premiered on Christmas Day in 1993, it faced one of the busiest holiday movie seasons of the year. Even so, audiences quickly embraced it. Strong word of mouth helped the film keep gaining momentum, and it eventually earned more than $73 million worldwide. Critics praised the cast and storytelling, while Val Kilmer's performance as Doc Holliday became one of the most celebrated roles in Western movie history. As the years passed, Tombstone grew from a box office hit into a true cult classic. But as its popularity increased, so did the stories about what really happened during production. Cast and crew members shared very different memories. Some stories matched, while others completely clashed. Decades later, those questions only grew louder after Kurt Russell finally shared his side of the story. Long before Tombstone made Kurt Russell one of the most memorable Wyatt Earps ever seen on screen, he had already built an incredible career. By 1993, he wasn't just another Hollywood star trying a Western. He had spent decades proving he could succeed in almost every genre and had earned the respect of the entire industry. Understanding his journey helps explain why he became such a key figure during the making of Tombstone and why people still pay close attention to what he says today. Kurt Vogel Russell was born on the 17th of March, 1951, in Springfield, Massachusetts, into a family where entertainment was already part of everyday life. His father, Bing Russell, was a well-known actor who appeared in many television shows and westerns, while his mother, Louise Crone Russell, worked as a dancer. The family later moved to California, where Kurt grew up in Thousand Oaks with his three sisters, Jill, Jamie, and Jody. Although acting was part of Kurt Russell's life from an early age, it wasn't his only dream. Baseball was just as important to him. Throughout grade school and high school, he became a talented second baseman and spent countless hours on the field. He graduated from Thousand Oaks High School in 1969, but by then he had already started building a name for himself as a young actor. Russell's acting career began incredibly early. In 1962, he made his television debut with appearances on Dennis the Menace and the Dick Powell Theater. That same year, he auditioned for the baseball movie Safe at Home, hoping it would give him the chance to meet his heroes, Mickey Mantle and Roger Maris. Even though he didn't land the role, he didn't let the setback stop him. More opportunities followed with The Travels of Jamie McFeeters and guest appearances on hit shows like The Man from UNCLE and Gilligan's Island. In 1963, he made his big screen debut in It Happened at the World's Fair, kicking off what would become one of Hollywood's longest-lasting careers. His natural charm soon caught the attention of Walt Disney Studios, where he quickly became one of the company's biggest young stars, starting with Follow Me, Boys. In 1966, he appeared in a string of successful family movies, including The Computer War, Tennis Shoes, and Superdad, winning over a whole new generation of fans. Even with his growing success in Hollywood, Russell refused to walk away from baseball. He chased both dreams at the same time. In 1971, he signed a minor league baseball contract and spent 2 seasons in the Northwest League, earning recognition as an all-star infielder. Everything changed in 1973 when a serious shoulder injury required surgery, ending his baseball career before he could reach the major leagues. Losing baseball was a heartbreaking blow, especially after dedicating so much of his life to the sport. Ironically, the game ran deep in his family. His father had played in the minor leagues, and years later, his nephew Matt Franco reached Major League Baseball. While balancing sports and acting, Russell also served in the California Air National Guard from 1969 to 1975 with the 146th Tactical Airlift Wing based in Van Nuys. With his baseball dream over, he poured all of his energy back into acting. Unlike many child stars whose careers slowed as they got older, Russell made the jump into adult roles with impressive success. Instead of staying tied to his Disney image, he took on more mature and demanding characters that showed audiences a completely different side of his talent. That change became clear during the 1970s. His performances in the television films The Deadly Tower and Elvis earned strong praise, especially his portrayal of Elvis Presley. The project also introduced him to director John Carpenter, beginning one of Hollywood's most successful actor-director partnerships. Together, Russell and Carpenter created a string of unforgettable films, starting with Escape from New York in 1981. Russell's performance as Snake Plissken instantly became legendary, making the eye-patch-wearing anti-hero one of the decade's most recognizable action characters. The success continued with The Thing in 1982, which later became one of the most influential science fiction horror films ever made. Kurt Russell showed even more of his range when he starred alongside Meryl Streep in Silkwood, then appeared with Goldie Hawn in Swing Shift in 1984. While the movie struggled at the box office, it changed Russell's life forever. He and Hawn began a relationship that would grow into one of Hollywood's longest-lasting and most respected partnerships. Throughout the rest of the 1980s, Russell proved he could do it all. He moved with ease between crime dramas, thrillers, action films, and comedies. Movies like The Mean Season, Tequila Sunrise, and Tango and Cash kept him among Hollywood's biggest stars, while Backdraft in 1991 reminded audiences he could deliver powerful drama just as well as explosive action. Then came Tombstone in 1993, another major turning point in his career. His performance as Wyatt Earp became the heart of the film, helping turn the Western into a box office hit that later earned cult classic status. While audiences loved what they saw on screen, few realized the production had become one of Hollywood's most talked-about movie sets. As the years passed, more stories from behind the scenes began to surface, making the film's legacy even more fascinating. Russell kept the momentum going with Stargate, then reunited with John Carpenter for Escape from L.A. He later showed his versatility in Miracle, Poseidon, Quentin Tarantino's Death Proof, and The Hateful Eight, Deepwater Horizon, several Fast and Furious films, Guardians of the Galaxy Vol. 2, The Christmas Chronicles, and Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. By the time Tombstone reached its 30th anniversary, Kurt Russell had built a career spanning more than 6 decades. Even with all of his success, one chapter still sparked endless questions. The making of Tombstone never stopped fueling debate, and years later, Russell finally shared his own version of what really happened behind the scenes. One reason Tombstone feels so perfectly cast is that it's hard to picture anyone other than Kurt Russell and Val Kilmer in the lead roles. But surprisingly, neither actor was the first choice. If a few early decisions had gone differently, the movie could have looked completely different. The role of Wyatt Earp was first offered to Kevin Costner, while Willem Dafoe was considered for Doc Holliday. Costner had already become deeply interested in telling Wyatt Earp's story. Instead of joining Tombstone, he chose to make his own film, Wyatt Earp, which was released in 1994. Val Kilmer's path almost changed too. He first became interested in playing Doc Holliday because Costner was attached to the project. But after Costner left, Kilmer decided to stay. That choice turned out to be a game changer, as his sharp and unforgettable performance became one of the most praised roles of his career. Before Kurt Russell officially stepped into Wyatt Earp's boots, the filmmakers reportedly hoped to cast his close friend Jeff Bridges. Bridges passed on the role, opening the door for Russell. That single decision changed the direction of the film and became one of Hollywood's biggest what-if stories. While the cast was still coming together, screenwriter Kevin Jarre took an unusual approach to research. Instead of relying only on books, he temporarily moved to Tombstone, Arizona. He explored historic locations connected to Wyatt Earp and Doc Holliday, and even attended cowboy camp, where he learned to ride horses, handle firearms, and wear six-shooters the way 19th-century lawmen did. Instead of just writing about the Old West, Kevin Jarre wanted to experience it for himself. That dedication showed in the final screenplay. Many historians and Western fans still consider Tombstone one of the most convincing portrayals of the gunfight at the OK Corral ever put on film. The attention to detail went far beyond the script. Nearly every part of the production was carefully planned, even the facial hair. Sam Elliott's unforgettable mustache became almost as famous as his performance. It looked perfect for the era, and according to reports, there was an interesting historical connection behind it. Elliott's family is reportedly connected to Wyatt Earp's descendants, making his look feel even more fitting. To make it stand out on camera, the makeup team enhanced his mustache with black mascara, giving it an even fuller appearance. Director George P. Cosmatos brought the same passion to every scene. For him, Tombstone was much more than another movie. It was the chance to fulfill a dream he had carried since childhood. Growing up in Italy, he was inspired by the 1957 film Gunfight at the OK Corral starring Burt Lancaster. When he finally got the opportunity, he filmed the climactic gunfight at the real OK Corral in Tombstone, Arizona, adding another layer of authenticity. Cosmatos stayed focused on historical accuracy throughout production. Rather than making a standard Western, he approached the story as a sweeping frontier tragedy. That vision shaped everything from the actors' performances to the staging of the biggest scenes. Val Kilmer matched that level of commitment while preparing to play Doc Holliday. Even though the real Holliday wasn't known for playing the banjo, Kilmer learned enough to make those moments feel believable. Kurt Russell also put in the work, training with legendary firearms instructor Thel Reed to master the weapons used during the 1880s. Kurt Russell trained with classic single-action revolvers, learning everything from quick draws to speed loading and fanning the hammer. He didn't just want to look convincing, he wanted every move to match the techniques used by real frontier lawmen. That preparation gave the gunfights a level of realism that still impresses audiences today. The world around those performances was crafted with the same care. Production designer Catherine Hardwicke and her team rebuilt the town of Tombstone using historical photographs, architectural drawings, and period records. The massive 12-acre set included more than 65 buildings created just for the movie. Cast members later said walking through the finished town truly felt like stepping back into 1881, making it easier to disappear into their roles. Some of the film's most unforgettable moments also came from unexpected improvisation. Billy Bob Thornton's performance as Johnny Tyler became one of the movie's standout scenes, even though much of it wasn't tightly scripted. He was encouraged to play an intimidating bully, giving him the freedom to create the tense confrontation with Kurt Russell's Wyatt Earp. The risk paid off and gave audiences an early look at the talent that would soon make Thornton one of Hollywood's most respected actors. Not every storyline made it to the final cut. One of the biggest changes involved the romance between Wyatt Earp and Josephine Marcus, played by Dana Delaney. Early versions spent much more time on their relationship, but test audiences felt it distracted from the film's main story. Because of that, much of the subplot was removed before release. Although a few moments remain, trimming the romance gave the movie a tighter focus. The spotlight stayed on the themes that still define Tombstone today: loyalty, sacrifice, revenge, and the events that turned a small Arizona town into a legendary part of American history. Even with its historical approach, Tombstone wasn't afraid to include unsettling moments. One scene that shocked many viewers involved Curly Bill Brocious making a disturbing remark about harming Mexican people. The act was never shown on screen, but the comment alone left a lasting impression on audiences in 1993. At a time when many Hollywood westerns avoided references to such disturbing acts, that scene felt bold and controversial. Today, after years of more graphic movies and television, some viewers may not react the same way. Back then, though, it made one thing clear: Tombstone wasn't trying to present a softened version of the Old West. It wanted audiences to see just how harsh that world could be. For Kurt Russell, Tombstone was far more than another Western. Playing Wyatt Earp fulfilled a dream he had carried since childhood. Growing up, he admired classic cowboy stars like John Wayne and Roy Rogers, imagining what it would be like to wear the badge himself. Years before becoming a major star, he even appeared alongside Elvis Presley in It Happened at the World's Fair. Landing the role of Wyatt Earp decades later made Tombstone one of the most meaningful projects of his career. That passion spread across the entire cast. Before filming officially began, everyone completed an intense 2-week boot camp at Old Tucson Studios. The goal wasn't just to make the actors look like people from the 1880s. They were expected to move, work, and live like them. They trained in horseback riding, firearm handling, stagecoach driving, blacksmithing, and other frontier skills. By the time filming started, the cast wasn't simply wearing cowboy hats and carrying revolvers. They knew how to use them naturally. That extra preparation gave every scene a level of authenticity that helped Tombstone stand out from many other westerns. The attention to detail even reached the props. One of Doc Holliday's most memorable accessories was the elegant cup and saucer he used during card games. According to people connected to the production, the antique set had once belonged to the real Doc Holliday before it was purchased from a private collector. Today, it is displayed at the Crystal Palace Saloon in Tombstone, Arizona. Sam Elliott almost never joined the cast. Before Tombstone, he had stepped away from Hollywood after growing frustrated with the industry. But the screenplay immediately caught his attention, and knowing Kurt Russell was playing Wyatt Earp made returning even more appealing. Fortunately, Sam Elliott accepted the role of Virgil Earp, bringing a calm strength and commanding presence that became one of Tombstone's greatest strengths. The film also arrived at the perfect time for the Western genre. By the early 1990s, many people believed audiences had lost interest in big Westerns. Tombstone proved them wrong. Its mix of action, unforgettable characters, and rich historical atmosphere brought viewers back to the genre and showed that Westerns could still become major box office hits. In many ways, the film helped spark new interest in a style of filmmaking that had been fading for years. The filmmakers also blended real history into the story. Wyatt Earp's dramatic showdown with Curly Bill Brocious was inspired in part by the real-life shooting of outlaw John Wesley Hardin by El Paso gunman John Selman. Drawing from that event added extra weight to Wyatt's revenge and made the scene feel even more believable. Ironically, despite the movie's title, most of Tombstone wasn't filmed in the actual town. Aside from the OK Corral sequence, much of the production took place nearly 200 miles away in Mescal, Arizona. The team built a massive frontier town from the ground up because it was more practical and cost-effective than filming in Tombstone itself. Thanks to the incredible attention to detail, most audiences never noticed the difference. The cast's transformation went far beyond costumes. Makeup artist Gil Rocco used specialized silicone prosthetics to give the actors weathered skin, deeper wrinkles, and the rugged look of people who had spent years living on the frontier. Those subtle details made the world feel even more convincing. More than 30 years later, it's those countless details that continue to make Tombstone stand out. From the careful storytelling and intense preparation to the impressive production design and historical inspiration, every choice helped create a Western that still feels timeless and continues to win over new audiences. For years, fans wondered what Kurt Russell really thought of Val Kilmer. Their unforgettable chemistry in Tombstone sparked endless rumors, with many asking if they were simply great actors or true friends behind the scenes. Years later, Russell finally shared a story that answered that question. Looking back on Tombstone, he said working with Kilmer was an absolute pleasure. As filming wrapped, the cast followed an unofficial tradition of exchanging gifts. It wasn't required, but it became a meaningful way to celebrate the end of a special production. Wanting to surprise his co-star, Russell arranged something far from an ordinary Hollywood gift. He asked his driver to gather Kilmer's costume items, including his holster, gun, hat, and personalized chair, to be photographed as part of the presentation. But that was only the beginning. Russell's real gift perfectly matched Doc Holliday's dark sense of humor. He bought Val Kilmer a burial plot at Boot Hill Graveyard in Tombstone, Arizona. It was an unexpected joke, but one Russell believed Kilmer would truly appreciate. Then came an incredible twist. When Kilmer opened the gift, he told his own driver to bring out Russell's present. Without knowing what Russell had planned, Kilmer had bought him an entire acre of land overlooking Boot Hill Cemetery. Somehow, both men had chosen gifts inspired by death and the Old West, perfectly reflecting the unique friendship they had built while making Tombstone. Russell later said the exchange couldn't have been more fitting. Doc Holliday had always represented death, while Wyatt Earp stood for life, and their gifts mirrored those legendary characters in a way neither of them could have planned. The story became even more meaningful after Val Kilmer passed away on the 1st of April 2025, at the age of 65. His daughter, Mercedes Kilmer, confirmed pneumonia as the cause of his death. After the news, tributes poured in from across Hollywood, honoring his remarkable talent, creativity, and unforgettable screen presence. In the end, Kurt Russell's story revealed something far more powerful than years of rumors. Behind the iconic performances was a genuine friendship built on respect, shared humor, and unforgettable memories that lasted long after the cameras stopped rolling. What do you think about Kurt Russell and Val Kilmer's incredible friendship? And what's your favorite scene from Tombstone? Let us know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share it with other Tombstone fans. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.